as you'd expect, the Property Investor Show is a great place to meet up with landlords that are doing something quite different and innovative. And I'm delighted to welcome Matt Bates of Let's2Share.co.uk.
That's right.
Got that right. Whee! Matt, really interested to hear what you're doing down in Hastings.
Yes, yeah. Hastings is our local area, and we've been investing in property for a short period of time, just around 18 months now. And in that time, we've built up around 75 to 80 bedrooms and also neighbouring Bexhill. So our strategy is quite simple. We tend to target commercial buildings. Hastings is an Article 4 area, so it has been quite tricky and a really good learning process for us. We work closely with the local authority, but essentially we acquire commercial buildings. We tend to retain either a retail or a restaurant element on the ground floor, basement, and then upstairs generally a vacant office premises. So we utilise that office space and turn it into residential, either through permitted development or straight to HMO from office space. And everything that we do is on a shared accommodation basis.
I think what's really interesting about your model is that you do what we subscribe to at Property Tribes, is you find the demand before you create the supply. So you actually go to agencies, to institutions, to the student bodies, and you actually have a ready pool of tenants prior to starting your work.
We do, and that's really important. Yeah, we tend to normally have a bit of a waiting list that we try to manage the best we can. So we work very closely with the University of Brighton, Sussex Coast College, who are also really highly active in the area. Also the local hospital and educational establishments. And we tend to find that the student market, which is about 30% of our tenancies at the moment, when they leave, normally into the summer, we then have a summer period with international students. So we tend to really work the asset. We tend to have a occupancy rate of around 50 weeks of the 52-week year, so really low voids. And as I say, that shared sort of setup just works for everybody. We have a full-time maintenance team. We have the office team. We have 24/7 contacts. So we're very passionate about our products as well. So we supply all the furniture. Everything's brand new, refurbed, and it's a consistent product. So that's really important. And I think that's why our product is in such high demand in the area.
And I think what's very interesting as well about what you're doing is that you want to future-proof everything you're doing, so that if there is a change in the market or the change in the tenant demographic, you can still work within that area quite successfully.
Yeah, definitely. Future-proofing is something we decided we needed to do very early on. So if we have a large block, we'll look to convert that to separate units and then operate that with an HMO licence and multi-occupancy throughout those units. Again, because it's an Article 4 area, we have to be careful on what we're doing. And one important thing in terms of the lenders is, in an Article 4 area, we can't just go and turn a family house in the middle of a cul-de-sac into an HMO. It's just not how we work, it's not what we want to do. And by maximising underutilised assets such as above shops, we feel, and we've had feedback, that we're having a positive impact on the private rented sector in the area. So the demand isn't quite so much, and therefore that helps people with prices as well. So future-proofing in that sense, and also it's sustainable and good for everybody that we're dealing with. So it's very much a people company that we're in, and yeah, we definitely try to work with everyone.
And I think one other thing that you've invested a lot of effort into is creating a very visible brand that's going to act like a magnet to everybody that's going to be interested in what you're doing.
Yeah, that was accidental, really, I must admit. So we created the brand before we knew what it was. So we were very much landlords and investors and developing at that point. And it's slowly become our own agency. And more we find that local authority, other developers and other local landlords that you get to meet and you network with are seeing what we're doing. We're often showing people around our homes and the processes, and so much of what we do is based on modelling. So we learn everything we do, we analyse, we model so that we can learn for future products and developments. And so therefore we tend to be talking to a lot of people, and it's great to be able to share our key learnings to again hopefully do this in other areas in the future.
Well, that was really my next question, because I was going to ask you, does it have to be a university town, or could this be replicated into other tenant demographics around the UK? Because I think Hastings is quite unique in some ways. The property prices are quite depressed. There are social issues there, etc. So it is a kind of niche thing, but I think you're quite confident that this can be replicated in other areas that don't have the same kind of issues as Hastings.
We are, yes. Great question. It's something I'm still yet to answer. We definitely know that there's a demand for it. We're having people that we know ask us to come and replicate this, even parents of students in Hastings University asking us to go and do it for their child in another university. So it's excellent to be looked on in that way, and I think we're still working out what the key elements are, but we do have some plans in the pipeline to be looking at other areas. So yeah, I think the really important thing, what's worked for us, is having local people with local knowledge and feet on the ground. So I think anyone looking to do something similar should work their own area that they know and network with local people, and it is about those partnerships. So yeah, anything we do in the future will be with people that I think act and can operate in the same way as what we have done and proven in Hastings.
Yeah. Well, I must say I find it very interesting what you're doing.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking part in the interview, and lots of luck for the future.
That's a pleasure. Thank you for asking. Thank you.